If you're new here, I'm a beginner homesteader. I work a full-time job and I'm just trying to be more self-sufficient, provide food for my family. Last video that I watched, we tilled up a garden bed. So I rented a tiller and it was okay. It did a good job of like kind of breaking up the soil, but it was a lot of work and not worth it in my opinion. You see here, we went ahead and ordered compost. Now it's a little spread out, but this is around 5 cubic yards, or it's supposed to be around 5 cubic yards of compost. The compost guys who I got it from, they say that their loader bucket is 1.25 yards of compost per scoop per bucket. So paid for 4 buckets, 4 times 1.25 should be around 5 cubic yards, which is just under what I think I need. I think I need 5.19 yards of compost. So I'm going to do those. I'm just going to get started with what I have, and if I have to order in more, I can always do that. For our garden here, you can see that I've already started putting a little bit of compost down at the end over there. And I went and I hauled this other part of the tree that fell down, just so I had a barrier. So I knew that I was spacing it out the same width all the way across. So what we're doing 30-inch rows here. So you can see this pink string here. That's our marker right there. And we're going to do about 4 inches deep of compost. So I've marked my line on the stake here. This is 4 inches. Maybe it's a little bit taller than 4 inches. It's 4 inches on this end, and we have a bit of a slope coming down. So it's a little shorter on the other side. So the reason that we're doing 30-inch beds is I ended up measuring this thing out and it was 24 feet by 24 feet. Perfect. So that fits about 7 rows in there with a 12-inch walkway between each row. So that's the goal, right? So we're gonna just start moving this. I think I'm gonna pull out that fabric wheelbarrow that you saw last episode. It's gonna make it a lot easier to haul in this compost. And then the other thing I want to point out is, so like I said, we did till. Some areas it tilled really well, and then other areas, let me just flip this around again and show you. So some areas it did not do a good job at tilling. You can see here I missed like all of this over here. There's still sod just like all within this that never came up. If anything, that's on me for probably not knowing how to use the tiller correctly. It's probably, if anything actually is, I'm just gonna take the blame on that one. It's my fault. I probably wasn't operating the tiller correctly. But it is what it is. We're gonna make it work. So we're putting down, like I said, about 4 inches of compost. That 4 inches will give us plenty of medium to plant into and allow roots to establish and start to grow. So let me go grab that wheelbarrow and let's start hauling compost. Shout out to my mom, or maybe it was Miss Diane, I'm not sure who it was, but they did get me this fabric wheelbarrow from Aldi. Not ashamed to admit that we shop at Aldi. And it's been great so far. I can't complain. It's not heavy duty, but it does the job. And it's better than having to just either load up that plastic bin like I was doing, or try and shovel it over by hand. So that was one thing I kind of like about this, if I keep this in there, maybe I'll cut this around, is that this wheelbarrow, it's light because it's made of fabric. So I can dump it and I just pick it up and I just step over that line. I'm not trying to like go around, well, I'm not moving a heavy barrel. It's pretty lightweight. All right, so our first row is done. And I like it. I think it turned out really nice. Looks really good. So like I said, first row is done. at least with the compost. I'm contemplating, and it's kind of controversial these days, but I'm contemplating putting in peat moss and mixing that in with the compost. Ideally, I'd do it before I put it down, so maybe I won't get around to doing that. And I'm also gonna put wood chips on top. So actually, I probably won't. I don't know. That's what I'm playing around with right now. So if you think I should mix in peat moss, drop below why in the description so I understand why I should. And if you don't think I should put peat moss in, tell me below as well. I want to know, is peat moss good or bad for the garden?